In this video, we're going to be testing out Doom: The Dark Ages on the ROG Ally X, but there's a catch to this because I cannot get this to work properly in Windows. So in order to get this up and running properly on the Ally X, I'm going to be running official SteamOS. This is actually SteamOS 3.8. I made a video on this kind of showing it off a few weeks ago. If you're interested in checking that out, I'll leave a link in the description. I've also got full TDP control using simple Decky TDP, and we're going to be at a 20 watt TDP with the ROG Ally X. Just to make it a bit easier on myself and you, I'm going to set this up stationary. And I'll give you a look at what we've got going on here. So with Doom: The Dark Ages on the Ally X with SteamOS 3.8 installed, I'm at 900p. And like I mentioned, we're going to be testing at a 20 watt TDP. Later on in the video, we're going to see if we can get up to 60 with it and just go up to 35. But right now, we're at 20 watts across the board with this. A little bit higher than the Steam Deck, but we need a little more for the Z1 Extreme here. Another thing I've got going on here is XeSS instead of using FSR. We've got that set to balanced, no frame generation, and we're at low settings. Up in the top left-hand corner, we've got our performance overlay running, and you can see we're not at 60, 20 watts, low settings, 900p. And even if I drop it down to 720 with these same settings, we can't quite hit 60. It does bring us up a bit, but we may need a little more wattage. And unfortunately right now, I can't get frame generation working properly with this game in Steam on the Ally X. I'll show that in a second. It actually kind of brings us under what we're seeing right now, even at a higher wattage. So that's a bug that definitely needs to be addressed. And I mentioned before that I couldn't get this up and running in Windows. Well, I was able to get it up and running, but it only lasted for about 3 minutes. And over there, I did have frame gen working. It was really good. Then it crashed on me and I couldn't get the game to start again with the driver we have right now for the ROG Ally X. And it looks like AMD may have blocked installing the official driver on the Ally X with the last 2 updates. It's really weird. I just can't get it to work properly. It always gives me an error. In the past, I could get the official AMD driver installed here. It would kind of register as a 780M iGPU in that Z1 Extreme, but now we just can't get it to work, and I don't know if they're going to keep it that way or not. And that's what's kind of holding us back from testing this in Windows right now. But it looks like we're seeing an average of around 43 FPS with this game on the Ally X with SteamOS 3.8 installed. Low settings, 900p with XeSS scaling set to balanced. Looks great on this 7-inch display, and given the fact that we do have a variable refresh rate display, we don't have to worry about tearing. Gameplay is really smooth, and it would be really nice to be able to go up to 60 FPS with this and just kind of lock it down. But it looks like right now, 43 FPS on average with the Ally X and SteamOS. And that's at 900p low settings with XeSS set to balanced. Not too bad, but I want to see if we can get a bit more by taking it down to 720p. And we can also take the wattage up because the Z1 Extreme with SteamOS installed can actually run up to around 40 watts. We're going to go up to 35 watts, take it down to 720p, and see what happens there. So I've been testing at a bunch of different resolutions. I really wanted to get this to run at 1080, but with frame gen not working, it's just not going to handle it. So we've taken the TDP up to 35 watts. We're going to drop it down to 720, and I was testing at 1080 just to see what would happen. Not great, average of around 38 FPS. XeSS, make sure we're at balanced, and we need to be at low settings here. So theoretically, with that higher wattage, we should see a higher frame rate, but it's not as much as I thought it would be. Remember, at a 20 watt TDP, 900p low with XeSS set to balanced, we see an average of around 43. With it set up like this, just going down to 720p at 35 watts, we're seeing an average of around 52 FPS now. I'm sure with some more game optimizations, we can get a higher frame rate than this. And of course, with frame generation enabled on something like the ROG Ally X at 25 watts, we theoretically should be able to run this at around 80 FPS, but it's just not working right now because as soon as I enable it, it drops down to around 18 FPS. So there's something going on there. It needs to be addressed for sure. Hopefully it is addressed in an upcoming patch. I mean, really soon. It'd be nice to have some frame generation going here with this iGPU. But the way it is right now in Linux on the ROG Ally X, it's a pretty playable experience. I'd much rather just go back up to 900p 20 watt TDP. That way I could get pretty good battery life with this 80 watt hour battery. And as soon as we get some stable drivers for Windows, I wanted to test it over there also. And by the way, I've also been trying to get this up and running on the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus with Intel's latest ARC driver. The game is supported by the driver, but for some reason, as soon as I get in, controls fail to work, even if I plug in a keyboard and mouse. So there's been a lot of bugs with this game, especially on iGPUs. But what I'm seeing right now with the Ally X running SteamOS, it's not too bad over here. We're just going to take it back. We're just going to take it back to that 900p, low settings, XeSS set to balanced. I'm going to let this run out just a little bit, and then we'll wrap the video up.
Facilities are under lockdown.
Personally, I find it kind of funny that the only way I could get this up and running, at least stably on the ROG Ally X, was in Steam. With Windows, ran into a bunch of issues due to the ASUS driver, and you know, their drivers are definitely behind. Kind of wish that we could just install the stock AMD driver. That way, when new games are released, at least we've got an option to install that driver and get it up and running that way. Because I think that's what's really holding us back here with Windows and the ROG Ally X with Doom the Dark Ages. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. I'm going to keep an eye out for patches and new drivers. That way we can test it on more handheld devices. But again, the only way I could get this up and running right now was in Steam on the ROG Ally X, and it's not that bad at all. If you've got any questions, let me know down below. And like always, thanks for watching.